there's only two fights to make in the welterweight division. That's me versus Marty Fake Newsman, or me versus Street Jewish Masvidal. And if it can't be that, then what about doofus Dustin Poirier? He was telling all the nerds in the media, oh, next time I see Colby, it's on site. It's on site, motherfucker. Let's go meet in the octagon then. I'll paint your blood on the canvas just like a modern day Picasso.
Wow, that's interesting, because last time you were on the program, you sort of squashed the beef with Dustin Poirier. It was a big story that week. I'm just wondering what changed. Why are you sort of back to wanting to fight Dustin now?
Yeah, that was when I was under the rules, of a gym. I was respecting the rules, and I made promises, and everybody knows I'm promises made, promises kept, and I respected Dan Lambert, and I didn't want to put him in that position. But guess what, guys? Now we're at Colby Covington Incorporated, CCI, and we do whatever we want. There's no feelings. This isn't the Ultimate Feelings Championship. This is the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So doofus Dustin needs to man up for his word. His word was, oh, I'm going to fight Colby on site. I've seen that guy multiple times. He didn't even try and fight me because he knows what happens if he tries to fight me. He'll get put down real quick. He'll never be able to look at his daughter the same ever again, and his wife will probably divorce him because he's going to be ugly as fuck after I'm done.
Since we last spoke to you, I know you went out, did a bunch of interviews last week talking about ATT, so we want to speak to you about that, the future, what's next. But obviously, let's start things off with something fresh, and that was this past weekend, your longtime rival, the man that last time you were on the program, you said you wanted to face in Tyron Woodley. A very tough fight for him this past weekend against Gilbert Burns, but a very impressive showing from Gilbert Burns. So just wanted to get your thoughts, man. What did you think of that fight now that it's in the books?
Guys, let's start off by having a moment of silence for Woodley's career. Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. Moment of silence. That's Woodley's career going down the drain. Just like I told you guys, he's washed up. He don't want to fight no more. He's TMZ Woodley. He's out there rapping, making songs about me, hurting people's eardrums. So, who called it? I said he was washed up. I said he's 40 years old. He's a 40-year-old virgin. He doesn't want to fight anymore. All he did was show up for a paycheck. So, I figured we'd have a moment of silence for him, and, I'd pour out a beer for his career, because just like his career, it went right down the drain.
You did mention, I saw in some interviews leading into the fight, that you believed that Woodley was washed up. I mean, what did you actually think of the performance that you saw in there and what Gilbert Burns was able to do?
I didn't, honestly, I had better things to do, guys. You know the Raw American Steel and Twisted Sex Appeal, I got to get with the finest bitches and the mamacitas in South Beach. So I ain't got the time to watch all these jobbers fight, I knew that Woodley was washed up. I knew he's just showing up for a paycheck, You saw that in his last fight with Marty Fake Newsman, that there's no fight left in him, He's literally just showing up to get paychecks, He was cashed out years ago. I mean, when's the last time the guy won a round? Like 3-4 years ago? I mean, the guy's over the hill. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. But that's what's sad about this business, is these guys just have to keep coming and getting these paychecks, even when they're old and still in walkers, because they don't know how to manage money the right way.
It's a surreal situation as well, because we remember. I mean, you've been coming on the show for such a long time now, and we always appreciate you coming on the program and speaking with us. But this fight between you and Woodley, man, you've been building this fight for so long, and it looked like it was going to happen, and then it didn't. And then it looked like it was going to happen this year, and then it didn't. And now it looks like it's never going to happen. I mean, how does that feel to you? You put so much time and effort in building this fight that ultimately, is just never going to be put together now because Tyron Woodley sort of lost this fight this past weekend.
Yeah, in my opinion, business goes on. It sucks. I built that fight for, 3-4 years. I was begging to fight that guy on 5 days notice because I know how washed up he is. And, he never wanted to fight me. This is plain and simple. Even when he was the champion and I had the interim title, I mean, he was begging to fight lightweights. He was begging to fight anybody but me. And I'm the first guy to scare the champion into elective shoulder surgery. So, the guy's been scared of me since day one. We used to train together at American Top Team. So, I think just people found out how much of a man I am of my word. Every time I say something, it's the truth. Maybe it's the brutal, honest truth, but it's still the truth, and he ducked me his whole career, and that's that. I mean, he can go and know that he was a coward, and he didn't want to fight the best guys in the division. And the thing is that he's happy now. Yeah, he got these 2 losses out of the way and he got his paychecks, but you know what? Woodley didn't have to lose to me. So, he can ride off into the sunset, and go to his retirement home and be happy that he doesn't have to deal with the psychiatric, that he would have had to deal with if he would have had to fight me. So, he's thankful and he's lucky. He dodged a bullet.
On the flip side, though, you've got a fresh new contender in Gilbert Burns, and I know everyone's trying to figure out what exactly is next for you. Were you impressed with what Burns was able to do, and is he a guy that you're interested in now? Has he popped up on your radar after this win over Woodley?
You mean Dilbert?
Gilbert Burns, the man you refer to as Dilbert, correct?
Never heard of him.
Not impressed at all by his performance over the weekend.
Never heard of him, never watched a performance of his, don't even know who he is. I mean, I honestly, I don't know. I don't care. But
thing. We know professional wrestling has 1 Olympic gold medalist. Could there be room for 2?
Oh, it's true. Oh, it's damn true. Who knows? Man, I'm looking at there's other sides. There's other layers to Triple C. So that's something you guys might want to hang in tight. But I'll tell you something that I do want, and that's that Ryan Candy Garcia. That's the fight. I think I've done everything in MMA. I've Olympic champ, flyweight champ, bantamweight champ. I defended both of my titles. I think the only way that I want to do it is to make Ryan Garcia bend the knee.
This is serious. You want to get in there in a ring and box, an undefeated professional boxer.
Yeah, absolutely. I really don't think he's that good. I really don't, man. I think with the proper team, the right game plan, I believe I can make him bend the knee in front of Oscar De La Hoya. I feel like I have the tools, the power, the strength, the experience, and we want to make this happen potentially in Saudi Arabia. So, we got the money guy. We got the money guy that's willing to pay both of us. It's just up to little Randy Candy Garcia to sign that contract. That's it.
How are there any talks going on? And would these talks have to involve the UFC, or are you completely clear to box without them?
You know what? That's up to my agent, my manager Ali Abdulaziz. He has to go through all that, but he sounds very confident to make this fight happen. So I'm all about the next challenge, Steve. I've conquered so much in my life that you imagine having a world title under my belt. You imagine being a dude like that. Then there's the greatest sports athlete of all time. That's just the other title that I could think of after the greatest combat athlete of all time.
Well, what if you go in there and you beat Ryan Garcia in his sport? Shouldn't you then see how far you can take the boxing side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, bring out Lomachenko, bring out all these dudes, you can line them all up. I've also had the idea of fighting both Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. We can make Oscar De La Hoya the co-main event. And, I can take our little stepson, the little ugly son. So I'm looking forward to that.
What would Triple C say to King Ryan?
Ryan Garcia, you absolutely make me sick, man. I would make you bend the knee so quick you have no idea. You can throw about 100 punches, but it only takes one of mine to make you bend the knee. So sign the contract, baby.
It seems like he'd be willing to cross over into your world too. Would you be willing to do that if he wanted to do 1 and 1 and 1 in the other, or a wrestling match?
If he wants to do that, I think he'd be crazy. But that's all talk on his side. He has no idea what he's gonna jump into. He wouldn't make it past the first minute. I can promise you that. If he makes it past the first 30 seconds, I will give him my whole purse for the fight. Because if he ever crosses over to MMA, he is a dead man walking.
Okay, everybody. Going live to show you how bad my arms got. Put some peroxide on this thing and see what happens. I can see it. Might need to do something about this here pretty soon. The screws are obviously working their way out. It's been like this for a while. The surgeon contacted Dana White and the UFC, and they said, tough shit, Tim Sylvia doesn't fight for the UFC anymore. Basically told me to fuck off. So I guess this is what I gotta deal with. Been talking to my surgeon, and I'm gonna see if we can even get him taken out. I know it's gonna cost well over 10 grand for anesthesia and all that bullshit, but I don't want to lose my arm, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll figure it out, I guess.